Hello everyone, this is Dream Big Budgets. My name is Natalie, and today is another installment in my series for #IAM. And today we will be talking about a requested subject in my last video, which is how my trimesters went, and basically how my pregnancy experience was. So I thought that would be a good subject for today. Hopefully it won't be too long, because honestly mine was kind of boring, I think, looking back at it. But I know there's so many stories out there, and I would like to start that conversation. So that's why I'm telling my side of the story, and then you guys can go ahead in the comments and share your thoughts. That way, the person that requested this video can hear multiple stories and multiple sides, just to be prepared for what's to come and the different scenarios that you can encounter while you're pregnant. Because I'm just one case, and there's a million more different experiences out there, and I want to expose them to more than just mine. So if you would be so kind as to share your story, I would love to hear them, and I'm sure she would too. So for myself, when I found out I was pregnant, I was way past my first trimester already, I think, because I found out at about 3 months, because my period was fine throughout the first 3 months, and then as I was getting closer to the 3 months, I missed my period. So that was an indicator. And then another thing that I thought was weird, I couldn't stand the smell of meat, raw meat, any kind of meat, while it was cooking, or if it's just sitting there. Like, I couldn't stand it. So that was that was one clue. And then my second trimester was pretty smooth. Like, I never had any morning sickness or sickness in general, except for, again, very specific smells, because I could smell things that I hadn't smelled before, which was very weird. And it was just one of those things. For the most part, the entire time I was very tired, very out of breath. I couldn't walk very far without stopping and catching my breath. And so that was an issue, especially because I was pregnant for the our daughter was born in September, so I went through the entire summer being pregnant, and it was very, very hot. And yeah, that was not fun. And we moved into our house a couple of months before I gave birth, because we wanted our own space to set everything up before she came. So because at the time we were living with, we had 2 other roommates, so I was like, yeah, no, we can't bring a baby into this, considering we only had 1 bathroom and 2 bedrooms, and one of them was sleeping on the couch in the living room. So that wasn't really my idea of a cozy spot for a baby. Just saying. So we started looking into a house when we moved in here. But I was pretty, I was carrying boxes, I was packing, unpacking. I even, once we moved in, even though it was hard, because I had to be on the floor and do things, so I had to take lots of breaks. I painted our cabinets, our doors and our cabinets in the kitchen, because I just couldn't stand that brown. And I wanted to light it up a little bit, so I did white at the top and then a darker gray at the bottom, and it looked so much nicer. But we have a lot of cabinets, so it took me forever. But I did finish it before I gave birth. And so, like, my experience with pregnancy hasn't been, like, I wasn't confined to anything. Like, I could do things without any sort of issue. It would just require more breaks than I normally would. And as soon as I figured out that I might be pregnant, I stopped smoking because I used to smoke. I restarted recently. I know, bad habit, but it's just one of those things that I can't really explain. Like, I just enjoy having my break. And I know at some point or another here pretty soon I want to quit again, just because of the money factor. Because I feel like I could be using that money for something else. So yeah, but I never smoke in front of our daughter. I always kind of go away from people because I know people just don't like that, and I respect their space. So I always am very cautious of that. But yeah, so I found out I was pregnant. I quit smoking, so that didn't do me any good with my hormones. I was not having a good time hormone wise. I was very emotional. But because of how my brain is, I'm very logical. I could rein that in a little bit better. And it did help having my husband be there, like really supporting and be my rock, because certain days were just harder than others. Let's put it that way. And that's always, like, even in normal circumstances, it's like that. You just have better days, some harder days. So it's nice to have something to lean on, or someone to even vent to, or just let it out and have them hear you out. It doesn't have to be a significant other. It can be a friend. It could be someone close to you. It could be family, whoever you trust to be there and just listen. Like, even listening was more than enough. It didn't help that we went through the home buying process during that time. So there were a lot of moving parts. We were fixing credit scores. We were looking for places. We were trying to figure out what our budget was. It was a lot because it wasn't planned, right? So everything moved very quickly. And at the same time, I was dealing with my immigration process. So that was a 2-year wait. So I couldn't work. I'm still looking for work now because I had this gap and I want to work from home. So it's very difficult. So I think that added to my stress. But as I was going through our doctor appointments, they did their standard tests, and they found out I had gestational diabetes. So I couldn't eat everything I wanted. I couldn't drink everything I wanted. Like, I needed to measure my blood pressure every day, 3 times a day, and then show them the numbers at our next meeting. So it was, I didn't like that. I don't like needles. I don't like needles, and having to do it so much every day. I joke about it all the time. Once Freya gets older, I will just make a list of all the times I got poked because of her. But realize that might be something that you might experience. It's basically diabetes that you only have during your pregnancy because your hormones are all over the place. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because I didn't have any issues afterwards or before. The main concern was that she would grow too big if I continued to have high blood pressure and everything like that. And she was still pretty big. But yeah, it was very difficult to find foods that I can have that wouldn't spike it. So yeah, that's something you might want to keep in mind. And then so basically my second trimester was just trying to survive walking outside and not dealing with the heat. And once we moved into our home, not long after that, our AC broke, and it was summer. So, so we were thinking that we were going to need to replace the entire thing. Thankfully, we had a friend, and she came over and looked at it and was like, okay, I've had this issue before. It's just one piece that you need to buy, and we can replace it. So we did that, and we were... I think she was happier than me, because she's like, oh my God, I gave a pregnant woman AC. It was hilarious. But yeah, that got fixed quickly. Other than the heat and the really, like, the shortness of breath, that was my second trimester. I didn't have anything else. And then my third trimester, everything that happened before continued. So I could still not stand meats. I hated garlic smell, because the roommates that we used to stay with, oh my God, cooked with so much garlic powder that it smelled everywhere. So I couldn't stand it for the entire pregnancy afterwards. I couldn't deal with it at all. And so meats, garlic, shortness of breath, and just tired, very fatigue inducing tiredness. So that was first and second. And then third, I added on to that, and I started bloating. Like, my feet were just bricks. It was so bad. And I didn't get very big either, belly wise, until I hit my last month. And I was induced, because apparently she didn't want to come out. 2 days after my due date is when I got induced. So we waited just to kind of see if my water would break or anything, and nothing happened. So we just stuck to our scheduled inducing time. But yeah, those were basically it. My feet were absolutely horrible. I could barely wear anything, really, except for slippers that my husband had, because they were big enough to be comfortable. And my clothes, I had to go and buy a bunch of really, like, loose clothing that I still have and appreciate, because now I just enjoy them for what they are. But back then, it made it more comfortable to not have things stick to me. But yeah, the induction process, if you want me to talk about that, or how my actual birthing experience went, I can talk about that too. But this video was dedicated to my actual pregnancy, and yeah, it wasn't anything exciting. It was pretty boring and easy compared to some of the other stories that I've heard, which is why I was wanting to open up the conversation to some of you that may have had a more difficult experience, or just a different experience in general, or if you had the same, we can be pregnancy sisters. So yeah, I just I wanted to address this a little bit, and I mean, it's part of the experience. So yeah. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this helped you, and I hope this sparks a conversation between everybody. And if there's any more questions or any more suggestions, or if you want to see a video based on a specific topic, don't hesitate to let me know down in the comments. And I'm making lists, and we'll get to each of the topics as we go. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video and you haven't already, please consider subscribing, liking this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!